In the Trumpeter Taken Captive, also known as the Trumpeter Taken Prisoner, a trumpeter is captured by the enemy during a battle. He pleads for his life, stating that he has no weapons and has not harmed anyone. However, his captors explain that his trumpet is the very reason he should die, as it incites the soldiers to fight and encourages bloodshed. The moral of the story is that those who instigate conflict are as culpable as those who directly participate in it. The story The Trumpeter's Plea, a trumpeter bravely leading the soldiers, is captured by the enemy. He begs for his life, arguing that he carries no weapons and has not killed anyone, only a trumpet. Imagine a fierce battle raging, with swords clashing and shields splintering. In the middle of this chaos, a lone trumpeter stands, his instrument gleaming in the sun. His job is not to fight, but to inspire. He blows his trumpet, and its powerful sound cuts through the noise of the fight, giving his fellow soldiers courage and directing their movements. But as the tide of the battle turns, he finds himself surrounded. The enemy soldiers grab him, disarming him of his only possession, the trumpet. He is taken prisoner and brought before the enemy commander. Faced with the threat of execution, the trumpeter falls to his knees. He pleads desperately for his life. "Please spare me," he cries out. "I am not a soldier in the true sense. Look at my hands. They have held no sword, no spear. I have not killed any of your men. I have not shed a single drop of blood." He points to his trumpet, which now lies on the ground. "This is all I carry. It is just a simple instrument of brass. It cannot harm anyone. How can you hold me responsible for the violence of this war? I am merely a musician, a man of sound, not a man of war." He believes that because he did not physically participate in the fighting, he should be considered innocent and set free. His argument is based on the idea that only direct physical actions constitute an act of war. The enemy's response. The captors reject his plea, explaining that his trumpet is precisely why he deserves death. They argue that by blowing the trumpet, he encourages and stirs up the soldiers to fight and shed blood, even though he doesn't use a weapon himself. The enemy commander listens to the trumpeter's words, but is not moved. He looks down at the terrified man with a stern expression. One of the soldiers picks up the trumpet and shows it to the commander. The commander then turns his attention back to the prisoner. "You say you have not killed anyone," the commander begins, his voice cold and firm. "You claim you are innocent because you carry no weapon that draws blood, but you are mistaken. In fact, you are perhaps more guilty than the men who swing their swords." The commander continues, his voice rising with conviction. "This small instrument," he says, gesturing to the trumpet, "is more dangerous than 100 swords. Your hands may be clean of blood, but your breath has summoned the very spirit of war. When your soldiers were tired, your music gave them new strength. When they were afraid, your call to arms made them brave. You did not fight, but you made others fight. You did not kill, but you urged others to kill. Without the sound of your trumpet, this battle might have been less fierce. Men might have hesitated. Your music is the voice that calls for bloodshed. The captors see his role not as a passive one, but as an active and essential part of the enemy's war machine. They believe that by providing the motivation and encouragement for the fight, he is directly responsible for the resulting violence and death. The moral, the trumpeter's action of playing the trumpet is seen as an act of war, even if it doesn't involve physical harm. This fable explores the idea that responsibility for conflict extends beyond those who physically fight. The trumpeter is a symbol for anyone who uses their skills or position to promote and sustain conflict. He did not need a weapon because his music was his weapon. It was a tool used to manipulate emotions, to turn fear into fury, and to push soldiers forward into danger. The story teaches us that actions do not need to be physically violent to be harmful. Words, sounds, and ideas can be just as destructive as any sword or spear when they are used to incite hatred and violence. The trumpeter's fate demonstrates that in the context of war, every role that contributes to the conflict is judged. There is no neutral ground for those who actively support one side, regardless of their methods. His role was not that of a simple musician. It was that of a military asset, a force multiplier that made the soldiers more effective and more deadly. The fable teaches that inciting others to violence is a serious offense and makes one as guilty as the combatant. The central lesson of this story is a powerful one about shared responsibility. It argues that the person who encourages a crime is as guilty as the person who commits it. The trumpeter did not personally harm anyone, but his actions created the conditions for others to cause harm. This principle can be applied to many situations in life. Think of people who spread hateful rumors, who use their words to turn one group against another, or who encourage others to engage in dangerous or destructive behavior. According to the logic of the fable, these individuals are not innocent bystanders. They are active participants in the harm that follows. They are the instigators, the ones who light the fuse. The story forces us to consider the power of our influence over others. Whether through words, music, or any other form of communication, we have the ability to either build peace or fuel conflict. The trumpeter's punishment serves as a stark reminder that this influence comes with great responsibility. It serves as a warning against those who stir up strife, sedition, and conflict, whether through words or actions, making them worse than those who fight.